Over the last 18 months, I have lived and worked with a ton of flexibility in my days. And that's because I structured my business to fit around my life instead of the other way around. In terms of the numbers, I brought in more while working part-time hours than I did in 2021 and before that while working full-time hours, which even at its peak was like a 4-day work week, but still. And I should note that my expenses are very much the same. They're just different. While in 2021, I spent a lot more on things like coaches and custom design. And then in 2022, I spent a lot more on subcontractors. In 2023, those expenses are going to look different when we wrap up the year as well. Overall, the amount spent has stayed pretty consistent. So on paper, I've learned a few things about how to run a profitable and sustainable business in fewer hours, which leads to today's conversation, and that is the 6 systems that every freelancer needs if you want to grow and scale your freelance business. Because you need systems in your business if you want to reclaim space in your life and have space for life outside of business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The 6 systems that every freelance copywriter or every freelancer or every service provider really needs in their business if they want to start working less while making more. If you don't know me, hey, I'm Jill Wise. I'm a conversion copywriter, brand and marketing strategist, and business coach. And through both my Done For You studio and education platform, I've worked with, coached, and taught literally hundreds of entrepreneurs how to make good money online. And a lot of the work that we do together comes down to things like this. How do we work less and make more? That's like the ultimate question, right? Good thing for you is that the answer is fairly simple, and that is systems. Okay, so what are these key systems that you need? The first one is a system for your calendar management. And by that, I mean not just like having a Calendly link or using Dubsado to book in client meetings. I mean something that you actually can fall back on, like a process that you use to scheduling out your days and weeks and months. Personally, I have an ideal schedule, and I use that as like an actual overlay on my Google Calendar so I can check myself and make sure that things are fitting into the boxes that I want, right? Like this ideal schedule is based on my ideal life, my ideal work-life balance. And so then that way, because it's present all the time, I can actually schedule my business to fit into these blocks that I've predetermined. I talk about this often, but you can actually grab a look at my real calendar and a bunch of other good things like that through a free download called the 6-Figure Schedule, and I will leave that linked for you below. The second system that you need has to do with your offer creation. You need to have a simple, consistent process for every single time that you come up with a new offer in your business. It needs to be intentional, and it needs to help you develop them, but also optimize them ongoing. What I mean by this is that I don't want you to look at what your competitors are doing and see that they're doing something new and then just slap something together that looks similar, just all willy-nilly like, and hope for the best, because that's not going to be intentional and it's probably not going to work. And it also will probably end up conflicting with that ideal calendar that you have in the beginning. So the way that I approach offer development and optimization is very much rooted in my ideal calendar. Like, what time do I actually have in the day? When do I want to be meeting with clients? How much capacity do I have? So when I'm paying attention to all of these other factors, along with the things like comparable market values and what my competitors are doing and what clients need and want, all of it kind of comes together. For example, you will never see me with any kind of business coaching setup that has me on calls every single week, because at this moment, I don't go on calls every week. My current setup is to have calls only every other week so that I know every other week I have a ton of time that's just all dedicated to focused work. So you need to come up with a system in order to develop and refine and optimize your own offer, something that makes sense for you and fits in with the life that you want. The third system that every freelancer needs if they want to grow and scale a profitable freelance business is a clear system to delegate tasks to their team members. Now, maybe you're a solopreneur right now, and that's okay. Just save this tip for later. What I want you to avoid doing is sending your team tasks through multiple different channels, just like emailing them or DMing them and just like having it be a total mess, and then you don't even know what's going on. You have no way of tracking what's going on, and it just will start to feel like chaos very quickly. Instead, if you focus on setting up actual internal tracking systems and project management systems in your business, then it'll be a lot easier to start assigning tasks out to your team members. Personally, I really like using ClickUp. Everything is in ClickUp, like my entire brain, the whole business lives in ClickUp. It's fantastic, and it's also mobile friendly, so I can look at it quickly from my tablet. Maybe in the mornings if I don't have a chance to fully log in yet, I can still check in with where the team is at and make sure that they aren't waiting on me for anything, even if I am going to have more of a life-focused day that day. The fourth system that every single freelancer needs in order to grow and scale their business is a lead generation system. So many people forget about this when they're first setting things up. They think, oh, I'll just cold pitch for some work, maybe I'll throw out a few Instagram posts, or I'll show up on LinkedIn a little bit, but they don't have a set system, and that is what holds them back a lot of the time. Because if you don't have consistent revenue coming in, then you're going to be really stressed about where you're going to land that next gig. And because you're stressed, you won't have time to focus on anything else in your business, and then you really won't be able to grow. My own lead generation system uses my website as a key component of it, and it works while I'm doing literally everything else. But basically, it helps attract those inbound leads, it helps them pre-qualify themselves, and then it gets them onto my calendar, but really only the ones that are a good fit for actually working together, because I don't want to get on sales calls with people that aren't a good fit. And all of this happens while I'm doing everything else in my business. So oftentimes the first point of contact that I have with this lead is when we're actually going to the sales call or in my prep for that sales call, because I see that there's a new name on my calendar. So having a system like this is crucial to your growth. And honestly, it just makes life so much easier when you know that it's going to work for you. The fifth system that you need is kind of tacked on to the lead generation one, but it's a clear onboarding process. You want this onboarding to feel really good for your clients, but also not be a huge time suck for you. If you are booked and busy, then no one is benefiting from you just busying yourself even more with all of these details, when all of that kind of thing in onboarding can usually be pretty automated, or at least like semi-automated. I use a variety of tech tools in order to automate this process for me and my team, but most of them, like the base of it, lives in Dubsado. So you don't need to have like a huge tech stack to make it work right away. At first, just pick something, start there, streamline it, and make it feel good for you and your clients. And the last system that you need, which I think is extremely important for freelance copywriters, but also other freelancers or any service provider that has a deliverable that they're sending over, and that is a clear process for sending those deliverables. You want to make sure that this delivery includes clear protocol or what the next steps for the client are, because there is nothing worse than you sending over a massive project to them and them opening that email and having absolutely no idea what to do with it. And then there's radio silence and you're awkward and they're not sure and no one talks, and then the project gets delayed. I honestly came up with this system like years ago, even before I automated my onboarding, because it just like having clear instructions that I sent with my copy just made things so much easier. It made projects move along a lot easier. It was just one quick win that I could do right away, and then that freed up a ton of time for me to focus on other things in the business. But overall, if you want to grow and scale your freelance business, if you want to start making more, then you need to deliver a premium service, and all of these systems come into play to help you do that. Because instead of stressing about where to get clients or how you're going to set up your days or what you're doing today or what the team's doing, instead of stressing about all of that, you can do your job so much easier. And when you do your job well, then you're showing up for your clients well, and it just elevates the entire experience for everyone. Okay, so I'm going to pause there, but honestly, there are so many other things that I could talk about in like individual systems that you can have as a freelancer. So if you like this, leave a comment below and maybe I'll put together a part 2 if there's enough interest. But for now, I just hope that you take these and you choose one thing and implement it ASAP. I promise you that it'll make a huge difference in the whole working less, making more idea. And these are things that I did to grow and scale my business to this point. Like, I'm talking from a point of experience for myself, but also helping a ton of clients through it. If you want to continue this conversation, I have a ton of other videos that are around this topic, specifically in terms of like how to increase your rates and grow your business that way too. So I will leave those linked for you here. And as always, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And thank you so much for hanging out.